What's up with the what's up, guys? Let's go. It's Walker Ward, the totally unknown and living in obscurity singer-songwriter, coming to you from the Mecca of the universe, country music Mecca, that is, Nashville, Tennessee. Let's go. All right. And I just wrote a new song I'm super excited about. It puts a lot of talking points on the table. Just theory-wise, how I was inspired to write the song from just a musical standpoint, not necessarily life event, but I do want to talk about, musically, where it came from. The Beatles were a great institution of musicians, and I read somewhere that their music was a lot of times music driven, whether it was a catchy rhythm or a catchy melody that they came up with, and then they would just take something in life and talk about it in the song. And there's 100 different ways to do it, and there's no right or wrong. But sometimes, from this standpoint, I want to talk to you about some of the double stops I used. If you want to talk about Jimi Hendrix, institution in and of itself, total rock icon, blues icon, I should say. But one of the greats for sure. Use a lot of double stops, Stevie Ray Vaughan. So incorporate a couple of those into the licks just to add a little color and contrast. Different chord, alternate chord voicings and shapes just to add a little contrast and help with some of the, doing licks to add contrast as well. Talk about that. Talk about breaking the rules, because if you're like me, I'm looking for new information about songwriting for years. I'm a member of the Nashville Songwriters Association and always wanted to learn more and get better and be more effective at the craft. All the greats broke the rules. So, all the greats did something different that the music market was desperate for at the time, So, from a music standpoint, real quick, this is a G, D, E minor, C. A couple of songs that use a G, D, E minor, C would be like Dixieland Delight, one of my favorite songs by Alabama. Patience by Guns N' Roses, one of my favorite songs of my childhood, one of my favorite bands, use those chords in that song. Stand By Me, I believe, is a G, D, E minor, C as well, or uses those chords. And the song that inspired me about this song is an old, obscure Lynyrd Skynyrd song called All I Can Do Is Write About It in a Song. It's written by Ronnie van Zant, who is one of the huge icons of songwriting. Died, unfortunately, in a plane crash at a very early age, in a plane crash with his band members. Unfortunately, passed on impact. A lot of the band members did live. And they're still rocking it out today, I believe. So, anyway, the song is All I Can Do, that they wrote was All I Can Do Is Write About It in a Song. And it's, you ever seen a she get up, protect the youngin', or a fish in a river swimming free? Seen the beauty of the hills of Carolina, or the greenness in the grass in Tennessee. Ronnie van Zant is notorious for using very simple, beautiful words and melodies and describing very true and real-life touching events. And so, props for that. But the other song is Dixieland Delight, one of my favorite hoedown, showdown country songs. G, D, E minor, and a C, rolling down the backwoods, Tennessee byway, one on the way, my lover. So you can see that's and then my song, the Walker Ward song, as you have never heard before, is She Loves It When I Play a Sad Song. So I'm using some double stops on my lick on the C. This is the chorus. So she loves it when I play a sad song. So those are double stops, and this little range right here, this little piece right here, I guess a double stop is basically two notes in a chord, like a power chord, like a G, like an A, like a C. Double stops, two notes to make a chord, I believe. And so this might be reminiscent of Little Wing. Stevie Ray Vaughan used double stops all the time. Jimi Hendrix. Double stop. So that's Jimi Hendrix. I mean, Stevie Ray Vaughan. Stevie Ray Vaughan used them notoriously and just in a magnificent way. So love the music by those guys, and this is a real blend of like country and rock and southern rock and blues double stops, so stuff like that. The numbers for chords in the Nashville number system for jamming and stuff like that. Circle of fifths will really open doors with that. Anybody who I'm not a guru on theory and all that jazz. Have to add the disclaimer in right now. But people that major in music theory and people that get really good at music know their circle of fifths typically. And it's a great guide to use chords and transpose keys for maybe singing or whatever key they might be playing a song in. If your voice is better in the key of G, you might transpose a song. It's in the key of D to G so you can sing it better. Things like that. But it is like, it kind of goes up, and each key signature, each chord signature has its own set of minors that typically will go to it that are better in the ear. So you have I'm just going up the neck here, but G, A, B, C, D, E, F, right? So you got all those, and you go back to G. But G is going to have an A minor, and G is going to have an E minor, like in Nirvana. And then you're gonna have a B minor, like in Garth Brooks' "The Dance" had a B minor in the chorus. So I'm glad I didn't know the way it all would end. B minor, way it all would go. Our lives. Those are the three minors that you're gonna see in G, and this is a G, D, E minor, C. So I guess this is a 1-5-4. So G is your 1, D is your 5, and C is your 4, and it's an E minor. So anyway, I'm not that familiar with it, but the circle of fifths is a great avenue to go by which to transpose your songs and get familiar minors to use in your songwriting. Anyway, so that being said, and then the other thing I'm doing in this song that I wanted to discuss was the alternate chord voicings, because this is obviously a G. Well, this is also a G, right? So a lot of people may be familiar with the different chords all over the neck when they're really familiar with the neck. But it's really important to sometimes add contrast, like Jimi Hendrix with the painting, and it's from an auditory sense, not such a visual sense. I always like that analogy, like I said, but this is a G, so I can play this song here, you know. She loves it when I sing a sad song. She loves it when I sing a sad song. So, that adds contrast. And you go back to first. Loves it when I sing a sad song. And then there's a G here, like right here. So you can see how I pull a lick here and then resolve on the G. So if you try to pull this lick and resolve on an A, it's gonna sound weird. It's a different type of interval. So resolves, and then you can add licks. So you're gonna have licks next to that chord. So if there's a G here, there's a lick here that would also be in the key of E. Be in the key of G. And the thing to think about is if you know your scales, or if you don't know your scales, I'm sure you know licks that you've practiced or learned from songs you love and try to play. I know a lot of licks too, not so much in scales so much. So like here, I'd be like in a G. So you can do a little. So you're going from the G to the D to the C, and it's the same tone, G, D, C, and so that adds contrast and can help you just do some fills and I'm sure soloing as well for sure. But the big thing with this is that I am breaking a rule. I saw a video the other day and I kind of chuckled, I laughed, because David Grohl of Nirvana and Foo Fighters great musician, obviously, and he talked about Aerosmith. I've always loved Aerosmith, a magnificent band, great songwriters. And he said they always write hit songs, and because they don't, they have the approach of, let's get to the chorus, don't bore us, right? And I thought that was funny, but he said, oh, what's the verse to Love in an Elevator? I don't know, it's Love in an Elevator. I mean, they started the chorus on Janie's Got a Gun. So I'm starting this one on the chorus, and just being a longtime member of the Nashville Songwriters Association and being familiar with the metrics and the science to some extent of what they say makes hit songs. There is a formula, right? So like Ralph Murphy, I mean, he's a super intelligent guy. He's just got it down to a science. A hit song is basically in this, somewhere between blah 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 80 to 100 beats per minute. Anything over this is a dance song, and so he's got down to the speed, the how long the song is, how many seconds it takes to get to the chorus. So if there's a bridge, if there isn't a bridge, how many hit songs have a bridge, how many hit songs don't, how many what structure are they using? Was it the AABA, or is it verse chorus verse? Verse, chorus, verse, bridge, chorus. I mean, so they've got it all down to a science, which I totally appreciate. And I urge people, I like to know the rules, and I would think it would be going a little far to say all the people that broke the rules, like Johnny Cash and Guns N' Roses and you name it. I mean, they broke the rules, but I would suspect they probably knew them as well. So I don't know. But they did break the rules, and they are institutions in artists and music history. So something to be said for that. And so I'm starting this one with the chorus, which I think the formula, typically most songs in country music probably don't start with the chorus. There's kind of a thought process of building up to the chorus and building momentum, and then coming in with the sing-along type chorus, and then hitting them with the hook, and then going back to the cadence of the verse, or what have you, or the bridge, or whatever you do. But a lot of pop songs just repeat the same thing, and it's all music-driven, groove-driven, pop, that type beat-driven, and there's a lot to say with beats. So, like I was saying with the song, beats can kind of inspire a song, a groove. If you have a groove or a different strumming pattern, I liked Hank Jr.'s song, Country Boy Can't Survive. So I just like the sound of the tone, the swampy, the backwoods type of vibe that it gave. So found out it was drop D tuning, and they just experimented with drop D tuning and wrote a song in drop D tuning, just like this song. I just wanted something to encapsulate that feeling and that vibe of that all I can do is write about it in a song by Lynyrd Skynyrd, and I used a similar chord progression and wrote a song. And so that being said, breaking the rules is a big deal. So David Grohl had spoke of that. I was like, I'm gonna start this one with the chorus, get into that and then kind of go regress to the verse and then go back to the chorus and try to bring it in that way. But breaking the rules is huge. Chris Robinson of the Black Crowes is. I love the sound of the Black Crowes, and there's nothing like it. And I think I saw a documentary with him, and he was saying it was just an uncompromising vision, and I liked what he said. If you don't get it, then you won't get it, and it is an art. So it's at the person's discretion as to what they want to do and how they see it, and all the people that did it differently and had a great sound that the marketplace desperately needed when they came out, did things differently, like Guns N' Roses. Totally different feel and vibe, totally different personality and attitude versus the glamour bands, which I appreciated all. But Guns N' Roses came out and maybe the critics didn't think that much or feel that much or say very positive things about them, but they still came in. They are one of the greatest bands of all time, and still rocking out to this day. But they were going against the glamour rock. AC/DC came out of Australia, entered London, tried to kick it off from there, and they were dealing with, there was a big punk rock trend going on at that time. They came in, and man, the fans couldn't get enough. They were unusual sound, just hard-hitting rock, stiff upper lip attitude. Came out of nowhere. Nobody's been able to do it since, so props to that. Elton John, a rocker, entered into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I mean, one of the greatest talents of all time, Sir Elton John, knighted, so forth, and a hugely impressive story of dealing with adversity through life and tragedy. Elton John stood the test of time, and and he's one of those greats as well. But he's a pianist, so I mean, that was unusual. Garth Brooks, I think country music was kind of in the doldrums, and Garth came on the scene, was able to transcend those boundaries like Taylor Swift was. Just had this vibe that could identify with all sorts of genres, VH1, MTV, and just get across those genre boundaries and reach those people and bring country back. And man, Garth changed the world when he did that. Travis Tritt too went against the grain, was a rebel. Johnny Cash turned his back on the audience, totally faux pas. Entertainers, no, you should not do that. Johnny Cash broke all the rules. He's one of the most revered artists of all time for that reason. His sound was nothing like anyone had heard before. Props to him. And he was a rebel. He was not about the business of music. He was about the people and the lives and Americans. So, he encapsulated independence, like England, coming from England and declaring independence just like the United States. So he is the true American country artist, one of the best of all time. So just breaking the rules is something that I like to use my discretion on doing. There's no right or wrong way. It is art. But anyway, I'm going to sign off. Thanks so much for tuning in. Happy holidays to you and your people.